Hey everyone, from GameStop store manager to Mooncube Games co founder, Keith Ebanks has a remarkable journey in this industry so far. After a decade in retail and a stint as a character artist, he co founded Mooncube Games, bringing us Spirit City Lofi Sessions, a cozy game that boosts productivity. Today, Keith joins us on a gaming network to share insights into his career and the future of Mooncube Games. So let's dive in. How you doing today, Keith?
I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Excited to talk about this game because I definitely use it to keep myself productive at work. So
Nice.
it's a very good tool. And now, could you share the story behind finding Mooncube Games, or founding rather, and how the idea of Spirit City Lo-Fi Sessions came about?
Sure. So Mooncube Games was founded around 2020, pretty much during the pandemic. Um, I had been working at a studio, and there I met Felix, who's one of our other co-founders, and he showed me a prototype of a platforming game he was working on, and he asked me if I was interested in doing like the character modeling for it. I thought it looked cool, and I thought, why not? To be honest, I never had any aspirations or expectations to have my own studio. But after, working with Felix for a bit and then meeting Alex, who's our third co-founder, like it was just amazing working with them. Things went so well. And eventually we started becoming more serious about our first game.
And obviously, team of 3 people, a game studio is a big undertaking. How do you guys, divide the responsibilities between you 3?
Right. So we started as a team of three, and we shipped Spirit City with the three of us. We did have some help with some contractors. Uh, at now though we've grown to four full time and then some other part time help.
Awesome.
But to start off, we were all pretty much we had a great team because we all had our own specialties. So me, I did all the art, all the modeling, most of the animation. Felix did the design, the programming, and Alex handled the audio and the business side of things. So like we had the perfect like three of us to to start this company.
That's great. It was like just perfect puzzle. Like, okay, I do this, you do that, you do that. Awesome.
Exactly.
And what inspired you to focus on cozy/productivity driven genre that is Spirit City? Were there any influences that you guys were looking to?
So this started during the peak of the pandemic, and we were all already watching like lo-fi streams as we worked. So
Mm.
that really had I think a big influence on the game we decided to make. We saw the success of games like Chill Corner and Virtual Cottage, but we saw that there was like a place, something missing for something that was 3D and more immersive, and that's sort of how we came about the idea of Spirit City.
Oh, awesome. I love that. And what was your approach to market research to the development? So, like you mentioned, lo-fi streams. Did you fully dive into the genre to be like, okay, this works, this mechanic doesn't work, and like, oh, let's add in this for hours because that would be a nice to have kind of thing?
So, uh, for market research, we started very early on in the process. Um, there wasn't much data really on productivity idle games,
Mm.
so we sort of it was tough to know really if we were going in the right direction. So, what really helped for us was holding regular playtests and really getting feedback on every significant stage of development. So as soon as we did, like we added a new feature to the game or we changed something, we'd do like an open playtest call and get feedback from players. So that definitely helped. As for researching like lo-fi music and stations, it's it. I mean, yeah, we watched a lot of it, but it was hard to really translate that in to know if like that what worked there would work in a game.
Mhm.
So really, it was the player feedback I think that really helped us align what we wanted to make.
And did you always have the idea to have like, oh, let's see if they want this amount of like rain or like this amount of bird sounds? Was that always like a core function or idea for the game?
So when we first started the current iteration of Spirit City, we knew there were a couple things we knew that we really wanted. We wanted players to be able to customize their character. We wanted lo-fi music, and we wanted soundscapes. Um, but we also wanted, to give something more special to the soundscapes, more than just being sound. So that was where we incorporated, the rain. As you adjust the rain soundscape, it begins to rain more, etc. Uh,
Mhm.
when we did the playtest, players really enjoyed that aspect of it.
I have to say, it's like a part of the game is creating your perfect atmosphere for what you're doing. So I definitely love that function. And then speaking of kind of like the design, as an experienced 3D artist, how did your background in environment and like character art influence this style of game?
So I guess, I me personally, I really like making cute stuff. So that was a huge influence on this game. Um, as for my background in 3D art, I guess I've always done sort of stylized stuff, and that it made the decision to, the direction for Spirit City to be. It was a simple one to make.
Mm,
Um, and since I was the one who was going to be doing all the art, um, yeah, I really made sure that it was something I wanted to make.
yeah, I love that. And now, was there like a creative process? Would you kind of be like, "Oh, I here's two versions. Which one are you guys vibing more with?" Or were you just like, "I'm in charge. I'm taking the lead, and I kind of want it to look like this"?
No. So it was more, we iterated a lot.
Mhm.
So we wanted every element to feel soft, warm, and inviting. And early on, we created a lot of mood boards inspired by, like, on Instagram. There's a lot of like cozy room layouts and aesthetic stuff and slice of life anime. So that was a big inspiration early on, and that informed our decisions going forward. We went through a lot of iterations on, you know the room layout, what the characters look like, what the spirits look like. Um, and yeah, it was we were all three of us were involved. Yeah, in that. Felix himself was he has a background as a technical artist, so he really helped with the lighting and the shaders and all that. In the game.
Very cool. And I know in my research, I did discover that you had previously talked about how you guys originally pivoted from a full-on adventure concept to this format. How did you get from that to this? What did that
Uh,
journey look like?
so I'll go back a little bit more. I mentioned that when I first met Felix, the game he showed me was a 3D platformer.
Mhm.
So I think you can still find remnants of that online. We had wanted to make a 3D platformer, but the market for that is pretty. Uh, it's tough to sell a 3D platformer, and to make something that, to make it at the level of polish we would be proud of. We realized that no, we needed to cut down, make our scope smaller. So after that, That's where Spirit City came from. We wanted to do sort of like a cozy adventure game mixed with photography, where you explore a city and take photos of spirits, sort of like Pokemon Snap, but in an urban environment.
Mhm.
Um, but for three people, again, that's a big ask. So from there, we sort of took the main elements, which was the stylized anime and the spirits, and that's how we got to Spirit City. So we took that and like put it into a very small space, and that's how we got to Lofi Sessions. Um, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And obviously, so the game does blend productivity tools, relaxing, finding spirits, like you said, like Pokemon Snap. How did you guys approach kind of balancing the functionality of the game? Like, was there ever a point where it was too gamified? Was there ever a point where it was too productivity focused?
So one of the core values of the game was to be distraction free. So any gameplay elements that we added had to be non-intrusive, enough to not distract players while they're working. And really, the playtest we did really helped with that. Early on, actually, the first versions of the game didn't even have spirits.
Oh.
It was really just you had your avatar, music, and like you could go to different areas of the room. Uh, but quickly we learned, players want like players wanted a little bit more. So that's where the spirits came from. And when we designed the spirit, gameplay, it was very something that could be done while you're working without having to constantly check it. And that's how we came up with just the spirits were discovered as you work, as you have the right settings. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, and, like, I loved kind of trying to figure out the riddles while also sometimes just magically coming, like, to the right circumstances, hearing the sound and being like, "Oh, something's happening. I see a little spinny thing there." So, I think it is a pretty good I'm very easily distracted, and the game is enough to still keep me focused, set my timers, set my tasks, but then still have a little bit of fun with everything else, so good job on that.
Thanks.
And now, with over 300,000 units sold, what do you believe contributed the most to the game's success in such a niche genre?
Aside from luck, I would say that a lot of honestly, it's hard to say, but I think the one thing that we focused on was polish. We wanted to make sure that we really delivered a polished experience, visually, um, aesthetically, and so I think that really helped. Uh, it gave players the comfort to know, like, okay, this is something worth buying. Also, I think the updates we've been doing play a factor. Since launch, we've released 8 major updates for free to the game, so players know that it's like still being worked on.
Mhm.
Aside from that, it's you know to we never expected uh, it to be this successful when we were working on it, or even when we launched. We never knew that like an idle productivity game would would do
I
so well.
mean, I love it, and, like, when I did first play it, like, before really doing my research, I would have thought it was, like, at least a team of 20. So, for what you guys did accomplish, like, applause for that for sure.
Thank you.
And, like, you did mention, like, the updates and stuff like that, and you also obviously have DLCs,
Yeah.
like the recent Cozy Kitchen expansion. How do you ensure that DLCs maintain the same level of polish and charm as the base game?
Yeah. So the most important part, I believe, is us, planning and scoping things for what our the strengths of our team is. So for the Cozy Kitchen DLC, we had about 3-4 months to work on it, and we planned very rigorously. Like, okay, this is the content that's going to be in it. Who's going to be working on it? It doesn't sound very interesting, but that was very important for us to set those limits. And it also, the content that was in the expansions was all based, like a lot of it was driven by player feedback.
Mm,
So we had just last year, end of last year, we did like a really comprehensive player feedback survey that got over 12,000 responses.
oh, wow.
And from that, we asked players, what they want, what out of all these options, like what are they most excited about, and from that, what we learned from that really helped drive like what the content was for the update.
Hmm. And then how do you go about prioritizing? Was it like, "Oh, this theme received the most votes or suggestions," and then you kinda work your way like that?
Uh, Pretty much, yeah. We so based on the player feedback, we prioritize things based on like you know what players want, but also what we can do in a decent amount of time.
Mhm.
The kitchen in our previous form was like the highest ranked. Like people wrote it. People we didn't even think of a kitchen honestly at first, but people were writing in like, "Oh, we want a kitchen. We want a kitchen. We want to cook." And again, it's not something we had ever really thought about,
Mhm.
but people were really hyped for a kitchen DLC. So that's how we decided to do the kitchen first.
I love that, yeah. And is there any rooms that you personally would love to see?
Well, yeah, personally, no, I want to leave the house. I want to see
Mm,
what else is in
oh,
Spirit City. Yeah.
yeah, very
Yeah.
interesting.
One funny thing that's come up in the most since we released the kitchen. I think people are thinking about that, like what other rooms they'd like to see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I might get in trouble with my team for saying this, but a lot of people are bringing up bathrooms, which
Hmm.
is, when you hear that, I'm like, okay, that's a little strange. Like, I don't necessarily want to model toilets and bathtubs, but it's an interesting thing that players want. To see their avatar doing self care, uh,
Bubble baths, that
bubble
kind of
baths,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
brushing their teeth, all that. So that's interesting. That's not what's next, but it's something, it's there, it's out there. We're thinking about it. So
Now I'm trying to think like what outside of the house would be super cool, like a library or something like that. Very
well,
interesting.
there's, I mean, Spirit City is, we didn't get really a chance to explore what Spirit City is. There's not a lot of lore in the game,
Mm.
but it exists. We just haven't been able to put it forward yet.
Ooh, interesting. I love that. And so, like, when you're talking about like new spirits, the activities, soundscape, we touched on it a little bit, but like, how do you decide what features to prioritize over others?
Yeah. So again, based on the survey, we asked players, would they prefer more spirits? Would they prefer more cosmetics? Would they prefer more productivity stuff? And as the main artist on the game, for me, making spirits is a lot of fun. So that's
Mm.
also drives that. Um, but yeah, we try to do things equally. For the DLC, we really wanted to give players, to make it feel like it was valuable. You know, um, because they already spent money to buy the game, and if they're going to spend money again to buy the DLC, we wanted it to really offer something special.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's, it really came down to that, and what we were able to create in, that the 3 to 4 months time
Only 3 to 4 months. That's amazing, to be
for the
honest.
DLC. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. And then you obviously have like tools like the Pomodoro
Yep.
timer. Also, who came up with that name? Because I'm half Italian, so I'm like, I know that word.
I don't know. It's like a technique that's existed.
Oh, I actually didn't know
Yeah.
that. Okay, okay. How did you like integrate those features seamlessly into the game without, I guess, being overwhelming?
Yeah, so the features, while they're an important part of the experience, they're not like, they're really optional for players. So
Mhm.
we don't force players to interact with them. So they're free to use them at their own pace. And that's, I think, the key is just like, they're there. If you want to use them, feel free.
Mhm.
Interesting, based on the survey we took, we found that a lot of players don't even use those features. A lot of players actually mostly use it for body doubling, which is, they have, it's like they have their avatar working at the same time they are, to give
Mhm.
them a sense of like companionship, or that they're not alone. And that we were really surprised, because based on the data we got from the surveys, that was like a huge thing for players.
Oh wow.
But as for the Pomodoro and habit trackers and stuff, yeah, I mean, we just wanted to, they're there for the players if they want them, and yeah, just giving them the option for it was the goal.
I do definitely kind of feel it could be kind of like a post-COVID thing, but feeling alone or a little bit lonely is definitely becoming more and more popular. So I could definitely see that, like, oh yeah, it's a companion on the side while I'm like going to my day to day. So definitely love that.
Yeah, for sure. We learned a lot, actually, from the surveys, and like player feedback on how people interact with the game. Body doubling I'd never heard of before we released our game, but it's
Hmm.
it's huge. Like, people watch co-working streams on Twitch to get the same feeling,
Feeling,
right?
yeah.
And our audience is made up of a lot of players who are, neurodiverse, ADHD, and that's it's a big thing for them.
Definitely. So obviously we've talked about the community. How do you guys interact with them? Do you guys have like a Discord? Are you doing kind of like town halls, or is it just more like text surveys, that kind of stuff?
So we do have a Discord server. I think we're about 16,000 members right now. Uh, Shout out to our mods who are amazing and really help organize everything. We wouldn't be able to do it without them. Uh, so we have our Discord where we interact with the players the most. We also have the Steam forums, and also occasionally Instagram, and to a lesser extent Twitter as well. On our Discord alone, we have like hundreds and hundreds of posts, people leaving feedback.
Mm,
We can't respond to everything, but we do read everything. Same for our Steam forums. We have lots of players. Like, players always want more, which is a little overwhelming, but
hmm.
it's nice to know like what they want. And
Definitely a good problem to have.
yeah.
And now, do you guys find that most of your game traction has been through like word of mouth and community, or has it been through other channels? Like, do you have a marketing infrastructure, stuff like that?
Yeah, so that was actually something we asked on the survey, where how did players find out about our game?
Mm-hmm.
um I guess not that surprising, mostly through Steam, just like using Steam, like Steam's algorithm shows the game to people who would be interested in it.
Mm.
And I think it was something like 60% of the players just found the game browsing through Steam.
Oh wow, yeah, it's a big number.
Yeah, yeah. And then the second highest would be word of mouth. And
Mm.
word of mouth, we consider like, telling your friends, but also like streamers playing the game, content creators, uh, playing the game for their audience.
Hmm. Do you have a content creator program just yet, or?
We don't at the moment.
Mm.
It's something that we're looking into, actually.
Okay, good to
Yeah.
keep a lookout for. And so, obviously, given the success so far on PC, are there any plans to expanding to other platforms like Macs or consoles?
Okay, so Mac, we're working on a Mac version, but it's giving us a bit of trouble. We've been working on it since like last year.
Mm.
Uh, we know some people are like, we keep every day. I think people ask us about when's the Mac version coming. It's you know
It's
it's
on the
taking
way.
it's on the way. It's giving us some trouble. We can't really quite say when it'll be ready, but it's cooking.
Hmm.
As for other platforms at the moment, we don't really have any concrete plans. Our main focus is on delivering updates for the base game on PC.
Hmm.
Um, Also, there's some expectations if the game is released on consoles that we're not quite ready to tackle yet, such as like cross progression. The UI would need to be
Mm.
tweaked. You can't really
Hmm.
type well on the Switch, if you're doing a to-do list or a journal. So we need to figure that stuff out.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
we did ask players in the survey about this, and a lot of players would want, you know, their save games from the PC version to work with like the Switch version. And we're a small team, so that's it's a little bit daunting. So we're
It's a
not quite
lot
ready
of
to
back
tackle that.
end.
Yeah, yeah. We're not quite ready for that, but it's on our radar.
Okay, awesome. And now looking ahead, what are your goals for Mooncube Games? Are there any plans for additional expansions, entirely new projects? What could we look out for?
Yeah. So our current plans is to keep working on both free updates and new DLC expansions. So just last week we last week we posted our roadmap on Steam. So our next update coming out May 15th is a spring update. So we're gonna have a new spirit. We're gonna have a new like a Japanese cherry blossom themed background for the
Ooh.
window, and a bunch of other stuff too. And then in June we're gonna have a summer update, which is gonna include like a beach background, some sandals, some fun summer drink items, tropical drink items, and then we don't have a date yet, but we are going to be starting on a new DLC for later this year as well.
Very exciting. And now when it comes to stuff like, so you said some drink options, will there be stuff for the kitchen expansion in summer too, or would it be solely base game focused?
So that's a very good question. Generally, what we want to do is focus on the base game. But
Mhm.
if it's something that works in the kitchen, well, it'll also be added to the kitchen. So, for
Okay.
example, if we add like a coconut with an umbrella drink, right? You'll be able to use it in the bedroom, but we'll also throw it into the kitchen too, so you can have it at the table, etc. So
Yeah, perfect. That makes
stuff like that.
sense. And I think that is kind of like my end of the question era. Thank you so much for being here and chatting with me. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you want to shout out or talk about?
Um, Not specifically. I guess I do just want to say like we're so grateful to our community and our players. Um, you know, I I've we we can't help it but check the Steam reviews all the time, and it's really nice to see players like sharing their stories and their experiences of the game with us. It it's really hard for me not to come to tears sometimes just reading what players say, because
No,
we never expected that, and the fact that the game is helping people, be more productive, but also just have a safe space where they feel comfortable to relax in. Like it's amazing, and I don't, it's not something that I ever experienced working on other games. So it's very unique to this, and I'm so grateful for it.
and I would definitely say in current times, having a good community that backs you and understands what you're trying to build and also surprising you on how they're receiving it is
Yeah,
definitely it's an important job to have. So I amend you guys for doing what you have so far, for sure.
thank you.
All right. Well, then, thank you everyone for listening and joining us today as we chatted with Keith and chatted more about Spirit City Lofi Sessions. If you're eager for more, check out the Cozy Kitchen expansion DLC or the upcoming free updates now available on Steam. Follow us for more gaming insights and updates. And thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.